today, New York City schools could lose up to 100 teachers and more, plenty of other agents who help the teachers, like janitors and so on, because not everybody wants to get the vaccine. And Mayor de Blasio is saying, F you, get it or you're fired. And we're ready, even to the tune of thousands, he says. We have thousands of backup. You'll get it or you'll get fired. It's going up now. His mandate is going up to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, which oversees New York. That'll be heard on Wednesday. But it's not just New York City teachers. New York State now saying it may call in the National Guard to replace unvaccinated healthcare workers. The governor here, our new governor who replaced Andrew Cuomo, says she's considering employing National Guard and out-of-state medical workers to fill hospital staffing shortages with tens of thousands of workers possibly about to lose their jobs for not meeting today's deadline for mandated vaccination. I mean, and it's not just them. In Connecticut, where I am now, bus drivers threatening to walk off as some 230 of them are refusing to get vaccinated. There's already a shortage of bus drivers here. They don't want to be forced to say it. They say, look, we keep the windows open. The kids walk by us for a total of 1.5 seconds. And we're allowed to drive unvaccinated for a year. So why do we have to do this? The bus is already too few. They're already too crowded. And here, too, the governor's considering using the National Guard. So we're going to fire all these people, bus drivers, teachers, janitors, healthcare workers who got us through the pandemic, even the ones with natural immunity, because they won't get this mandated vaccine. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and that's very key, that last thing that you just said. These mandates are for the most part, the Biden mandate, the one being forced on 80 million private sector workers. I mean, you were talking about public sector workers, and I think we can certainly debate the merits of forcing these people, but I would at least accept that it can be done to force. It's legal if we're talking about public employees. The private employee mandate is additionally insane, because this is just straight up compelling private citizens, and they're not exempting natural immunity, which we know from the data, from looking at it, that you have very robust protection if you've had a COVID, if you've recovered from a COVID infection. I just don't see, more philosophically, I don't really see the value of compelling people at this level to do something that they don't want to do. I'm obviously, I've been vaccinated. I think everyone should get vaccinated. I want them to approve vaccines for young people, and then families can make that choice. But it ought to be a choice. And I don't think it persuades more people when the big government, has the needle in its fist and is looming over people. Is that really what's persuasive? I don't think that's what's persuasive at this point.
They don't
make
care.
It easier for people, reward
They're not
people,
trying to persuade.
and also, they're not trying to persuade, because if they were, you know what they would do? They should pair pushes for vaccination with easing up of other restrictions. They should say, please,
Yes.
Get vaccinated, and then you can throw away the mask. You don't have to social distance. Back to normal. That's what they said initially, and then they took that back. They have gone wildly in the other direction. No, get vaccinated. We're going to make you, and then you should mask up just as intensely. In fact, double mask now. That's what they're saying. It's crazy.
Right. And the explanation is, well, Delta is very contagious. Delta can be spread even by vaccinated people. So we have to have the mask back on. Okay, I'll accept that. But then stop pushing me to get vaccinated, because if I can get it from a vaccinated person, just the same as I can get it from an unvaccinated person, why are you mandating these masks everywhere, right? It's like, I can get it from anybody. Why are you mandating the vaccines, I should say, right? So it's like, if I'm standing next to one guy who's vaccinated and one guy who's not vaccinated, I can get it from either one. Why are you telling me the vaccine is absolutely the solution to me getting it? It's the solution to them winding up in the hospital. I get that argument, right? You have a way less chance of winding up in the hospital or dead. But something's got to give. You can't just keep everybody masked and under a mandatory vaccine forevermore. And I don't know, Robby, you tell me, because you're like I am. You don't like the big thumb of government on you. I'm starting to feel like the water is rising and it's starting to cover my mouth, and then it's going to cover my nose. I'm starting to have that feeling of like, oh my God, like they're everywhere. They're never going to get off of me.
Well, and I'll tell you, the scariest thing is, I've been looking just in the last week or two, I've been looking at college campus COVID policies. These are at the more liberal and elite and prestigious the institution, your Harvards, your Yales, your Columbias, your Stanfords, et cetera. Their COVID mitigation policies are insane, even by the standards of COVID mitigation for populations that are almost entirely vaccinated and disproportionately young. So these are the people at the least risk of a negative COVID outcome. And they are telling people the cafeterias are being shut down. Eat alone by yourself in your dorm room, see no one, socialize with no one, wear a mask even when you're outside, wear a mask when you're like jogging by yourself. It's a dystopia. It's so crazy. And then, of course, what we've seen is that a lot of norms on college campuses, I mean, we've seen this over the last 10 years with norms with respect to free speech and, wokeism, that kind of stuff, have spread to all our other institutions. So I'm very worried that as repressive as it is right now, it might even get worse, and it having no bearing on what the state of the pandemic is.
We have to talk about it.
The pandemic is likely to get less bad.
Can we talk about that? The Oberlin College, you
oh my God,
posted a story on this is where I got it from you about what's happening at Oberlin College. Very nice college in Ohio. Lena Dunham went there, but so did my mother-in-law. A lot of great people went there. Of course, she's now 85, so it was a long time ago. My point is they seem to have lost their ever-loving minds, and reading your article about the actual warning, I don't know if you have it in front of you. I've got it in front of me. This is from you. Students should eat outside or alone in their rooms. And only under those two circumstances should they even think about demasking. They say the only time you may take off your mask is when you are in your room alone or with your roommate. Masks may be removed while eating outdoors or alone in your room with your roommate. Like, you don't even think about taking off that mask unless you're sitting by yourself.
I have a theory that the mask has become sort of like the MAGA hat for Trump people. The mask is like an identifying. It's a piece of equipment, or it's a piece of clothing that identifies you as a member of Team Blue. You are a Biden voter. You are a good liberal. You're on the side of Dr. Fauci and the science. You didn't vote for Trump. This is how you signify who you are to other people. When if you see someone driving and they're in the car by themselves, they're wearing a mask, like know that person voted for Biden, right?
It's so sad.
It's a bumper sticker. That's all it is, and it really is that.
It's so sad when I see that. Like I give a pass to anybody with gray hair. I really do. Like anybody who is old and really genuinely very vulnerable to this disease. You mask it up, sister. You do 3 masks if you want. I get it. It is very deadly for that age group. You see a young, obviously healthy woman alone in her car and she's got her mask on, I think, oh, sister, oh, like, come back. It's okay. You're going to be fine. Come back.
I'm here in Washington, D.C., and I still see, I don't know, 25, 30. I did a count the other day. It was about 35% of people that I encounter on the street, just kind of walking to work, are wearing masks outdoors by themselves. This is something even the CDC doesn't say is necessary. Like this is caution beyond what our, to my mind, very overly cautious government health officials have recommended. And in our nation's capital, a lot of people are going a step beyond that. And I mean, I feel sorry for them, but you can make as a libertarian, I think you should make whatever choice that you want to make is in your best interest. That's fine. That's fine by me, but don't tell me what to do. And the COVID mitigation policies still operate at the level of, nope, everyone is going to do what the most risk averse health official or government official is prescribing for everyone.
Yes.
And that is just, there's no reason for it. You can get the vaccine and protect yourself and take whatever additional precautions you want to take, but please leave me alone at this point.
And the infuriating part, which you've been writing a lot about too, and we've been talking about a lot here too, is just the exceptions for the elites, right? It's like, so the bus drivers who brought their asses into work and brought kids to the schools that were willing to stay open all last year when we didn't know what was what, they did it. Or the nurse who exposed herself to COVID patients before we had a vaccine, before we had any meaningful treatments. She got it and she took the risk to take care of people. Those people are about to get fired for not getting this mandatory vaccine. But we can see elite after elite, whether it's Obama at his birthday party or AOC at the Met Gala or all the Emmy stars at the Emmys. They do not have to wear their masks. They can parade around while the serfs on their knees around them wear all of theirs. The migrants coming across the southern border, they don't have to get the mandatory. It's like people are starting to notice the absurd hypocrisy that we're witnessing and the lies that we are being fed.